So, welcome everybody to my YouTube channel. Okay, now I'm skipping. This is my friend Sid. He is the Batman hater that we all love to hate on.
Marvel represent.
I mean, it's two different universes. We're talking about specifically the most well-known, the most famous, the most loved superhero of all time, Batman.
I think when you say the most loved, my hatred for Batman kind of overshadows everyone's love for Batman. So hopefully there's some sort of balance.
Alright, so I have like a bunch of questions regarding why you hate Batman so much, because I want to break this down. And ever since our last conversation, which was also our first conversation about Batman. But anyway, so my questions, are you ready for them?
No.
Okay, our first question for the day. Okay, what qualities, there we go. What qualities define a great superhero, and why, and how do you think like Batman lacks it?
Okay, let's first define the term hero, right?
Okay.
Someone who does something brave. For example, saving someone's life, donating like a lot of money to charity, which Bruce Wayne does that. I apologize.
Criminal offensive side eye.
So a hero, like I said, just basically does some good for the betterment of the world, right? Eradicating world hunger, or that's a hero. A superhero is someone who has superpowers.
Right.
Batman doesn't have any superpowers.
Okay, but he's technically not entirely a superhero as some people would define him as. They also just define him as a vigilante. So would you think that he'd be more considered as a vigilante than a superhero then?
100%.
Okay, we spoke about, at the end of your rant, you were like, oh, he has a no-kill code, right? Do you think this code is like a strength or a weakness? And how do you think that impacts his effectiveness as a hero/vigilante?
People like to say, or the writers like to say that it's a strength of his because it's a good quality to like not kill and whatever. But it's actually a weakness because it holds him back from doing so much good. Like, I'll give an example in The Dark Knight. If he had just, or like just any situation where he encounters the Joker, if he just kills the Joker, he would not have issues dealing with like all the mayhem that the Joker causes in Gotham City, or any of his other rogues that he fights. He would not have any problems with saving people's lives, because the ones who are causing destruction and death, if they're not there, then the city is safe.
Yeah, but isn't his stand always been about justice? So it was like he obviously would be that push, right? To be like, oh, okay, criminals, you cannot inflict your fear on us.
What about justice for the people who have lost their family members and other people who have lost their lives and livelihoods and their homes and jobs and everything else? What about justice for those people? To them, it's just, okay, the person who destroyed my life is running away scot-free, who is escaping Arkham Asylum constantly. They're not doing anything about that. Where's their justice?
Okay, so we got to see him go through like his whole trauma with the bats when he was younger. They get out of the opera, his parents are shot dead, right? For years after, okay, by the time he gets the Wayne Enterprises into his name and into his own authority or whatever, okay, up until then, he's always been about revenge, okay? Which to him was a form of justice. And as he was like about to kill the guy, right, at court, he had the opportunity, he had the pistol in his hand, and he was about to shoot, but somebody else shot him instead, okay? And then his friend goes like, oh, you don't have to see this, blah, 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 okay, let's just go home. And then eventually they have this conversation about being a good person or a bad person, and she's like, we need good people like you in the city helping people out, right? And he was like, oh, I don't think you think of me as like, I'm not as good as you think I am, right? And pulls out his pistol to show her like he was going to shoot the guy, right? She slaps him and goes like, oh, your father would have been ashamed of you. And then later on, he also kind of realizes like, oh, okay, this is not what good people do. Therefore, I'll throw my pistol away, and then throws it away.
and then he invests a lot of money in Batarangs and a Batmobile and a Bat ship and like all these other weapons that go on his utility belt, but he doesn't like, and also his cars have like turrets and machine guns, and his plane has a turret and machine gun and whatever, but he throws away a gun. Okay, big whoop.
Okay, in the movie where it's Batman versus Robin. Wow, I've actually watched. Holy shit! So because the machinery that was used was never to like actually like throw off like the bad guys or the cops that were involved in the crime scene, right? They used like Batman set it to a command which is basically to distract, and so the machinery was just to like attack the objects in the surrounding area, but like to distract the cops from like getting involved in Batman's main mission, which was to get the Joker and blah blah blah.
Therefore causing more mayhem and destruction.
Yeah, but it's like of objects. He's just trying to make sure that the cops don't get in the way as he's trying to protect the city, because the city thinks he's like not a vigilante but really a criminal as well.
But then needing to use more taxpayer money to repair the city.
But it's his own money.
Which is a waste, because he could have just killed the person who's responsible for all this chaos and mayhem, use that money to actually save more homeless people or whatever.
Okay, so in this sense, your opinion about Batman's approach to fighting crime is basically problematic and ineffective. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. And there's a lot more with regards to like how he's written as well, but we're going to get to that as well.
So you're agreeing to him being problematic and ineffective, that his money could be used in other ways, right?
100%. Iron Man kills. He gets the job done. If, like, you know, if it causes destruction, yes, he owns up to it. Like, if you, as we see in Civil War with the Sokovia Accords and whatever, you know, he tries. Batman, the fact that he doesn't kill, I will still stand firm in my point. If he just kills whoever is responsible for all this death and mayhem, like, most of his problems will be solved. He has the means. Okay, why doesn't he?
He surely does have the means, but his thing is that people can change, right?
Not people with like certain mental disabilities. Case in point, Joker, Harley Quinn.
In the case of Joker and Harley Quinn, you think that they should have just been eliminated from the start, therefore saving a bunch of lives and a bunch of money.
I will bring up your point of, you know, people can change. That's exactly what Joker did to Harley Quinn. She was his psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever in Arkham Asylum, right? And he brought her down with her. He is essentially bringing the downfall of people by not ending them.
Okay, but she did it out of love.
But she was still manipulated.
I don't know, I think like the emotion of love is the reason why people can be manipulated really hardcore, right? But this is what Batman was trying to achieve, was not like he's trying to manipulate the Joker into being a good person, but rather going like, everyone deserves a second chance, and everyone, second, third, fourth, number of time chances.
Listen.
Isn't that like a...
Listen, we're not talking about Jesus here.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I was like, this feels like it's going into a very religious topic soon.
I mean, it's appropriate given the fact that we're both Christian. Yeah. It's completely understandable that that's what would happen here, but that's not what's happening.
But, okay, so does it not apply to this version of whatever the DC universe where he's like literally kind of like representing our whole concept of like people can change?
Listen, the Batman's not a Christian. He's not a believer. And the one Batman who's even close to being a believer, he bails on Christianity. His name is Christian Bale. So it's kind of a moot point.
My next question then would be about his alter ego, right? So he's got two personalities, obviously, which is you've got Batman and you've got Bruce Wayne. Okay.
That itself needs therapy.
I'm over it. What about you two?
Okay, but that was not going to be my question. Yeah, it was very obvious he needed therapy from the very start. But the kid instead got education and training, right? In martial arts and jiu-jitsu
Men
and
will do
whatsoever, right?
anything except go to therapy.
What do you think of his role as just Bruce Wayne? And like, do you think he could have done more as a philanthropist rather than as a vigilante?
I mean, if he can do good as a philanthropist, great. If he can do good as a vigilante, great. I'm just realizing his no-kill rule and him being a vigilante is very similar to Daredevil, which even Daredevil is like, if he just kind of got rid of people he fights. But that's a different discussion. But yeah, like, he has the...
Okay, no. You're a Marvel fan, and you keep like bringing both the universes together when you compare Batman with the other superheroes. Therefore, let's talk about Daredevil, right? Okay, let's talk about him.
Sure, fine.
Okay, I watched the show as well, so I can say for sure, like,
I can't wait for season 4.
I get it. Yeah, he's a cool superhero. The thing is, like, a lot of his aggression kind of influenced me into being more aggressive, and therefore, do you think that still applies to Batman?
Okay, you need therapy now.
I never said I was a mentally stable person.
Can I call you Harley Quinn from now on? I'll take it as
See,
yes.
I haven't blown up anything in the past 25 years of my life, so I think I'm doing a fairly good job without therapy, don't you think?
Whatever floats your boat.
What have I blown up other than friendships and relationships? This Batman conversation is getting too deep. Let's continue.
I share the same sentiment with Daredevil as well. If he just kills his enemies, people like Wilson Fisk. Again, like so much of the damage that they do, especially with regards to like controlling the city and the underworld and all of that, like so many of the problems would just be solved, right? If they want to take it upon themselves to be judge and jury, why not also be executioner?
Okay, we'll leave that for the people in the comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at Punisher. He's
Yeah.
effective. He goes out and anyone who does wrong, boom, dead. Who's next? Anti-hero, whatever you want to call him. But he gets stuff done. I'm going to come back to the quote of, if I kill someone, then there's one more killer in the world. But no, if you kill 10 people, then there's 9 less killers in the world. So, you know, well, I don't know if the math is right, but you get the point.
I get the point, and the math was right.
Yeah.
So do you think Batman's presence in Gotham literally like attracts crime and villains rather than solves anything?
Joker just wants to mess with Batman. That's been established
Yeah.
multiple times. So 100%
Yeah.
yes, his presence attracts attention. The fact that he's a rich billionaire CEO will attract attention. The fact that if people find out that he's also Batman, that'll bring more chaos. That'll bring more issues. So where there's a fight to be had, fights will be had.
So remember we spoke about how he needs therapy for sure, right? Needs to confront his own demons, whatever. So what's your take on his psychological aspect of taking on Batman as a character, you know, and like his trauma, his obsession with justice, whatever it is?
He needs to have his aggression kept in check. If we're gonna look at Matt Reeves' The Batman, like there was that moment where Robert Pattinson's Batman, he gets adrenaline shot up into him, and he like just goes to town, like almost kills that one guy. Like if he had his aggression, you know, in check, if he got the therapy he deserves or needs, his personal issues would be solved. He wouldn't have this constant need for vengeance. He would you know, be on a path to forgiveness, I suppose. And also he would be able to think like better solutions to like making sure people don't escape from Arkham Asylum, as opposed to just lock them up and let the government deal with it. Like he would come up with better solutions, or the writers who should come up with better solutions would come up with better solutions. So I'm also blaming the writers, the Batman writers.
So you think that he's not as a compelling character, and like it's not like, I don't know, they detract from his effectiveness as a superhero or whatever.
He's pretty one-dimensional, bro.
One-dimensional?
I said what I said. You think about Batman, he's just guy who's good at everything. He knows all the martial arts. He's somehow superhero, leader of the Justice League without any superpowers. All he has is money and daddy issues and
Continue. Ignore my face and the reactions that I get.
And somehow he's like the best at everything, and he's also somehow a god in one universe, and he can defeat any and all.
Is he actually?
Like no, he gets on that god chair thingy that gives him all the answers of the universe and whatever, and with that thing. Oh, by the way, if he's the world's greatest detective, why did he need that god chair thingy to figure out the Joker is actually 3 people, not 1?
You gave me a spoiler?
This has been out for years, man. Come on.
But I never ventured out!
Listen. I'm sorry for spoiling. Now I feel bad.
It's a good thing I'm just cutting my nails. I can remove my aggression in there. Not yesterday. Actually, yeah, it was yesterday. We were packing up to come back home from work. And they were like, oh, who wants to carry the knife? And then somebody pointed at me. And I was like, yeah, sure!
And actually give you proper mental help.
Cool. So you do believe people can change?
Through Jesus, yes.
Then what's the therapy for?
You're not as deranged as the actual Harley Quinn. So, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take that. I'll take that.
I never thought that could be used as a compliment before today.
Honestly, me either. I actually feel very complimented right now.
Your standards are way too low. You need to up them.
I know. Maybe I do need therapy.
Tell you my exposure to Batman. I've seen the Dark Knight trilogy. Great filmmaking, but story has issues. I've seen Matt Reeves' Batman. I fell asleep in that multiple times. I've seen the Flashpoint Paradox, where Bruce Wayne's dad, Thomas Wayne, is Batman. I haven't seen any. I've seen the Lego Batman. Great storytelling in that. I have not read any of the comics. I have some exposure to memes and like just some spoilers online. That's because I just don't care about Batman as a character and whatever. So spoilers don't affect me.
Really, nigga?
Is there anything specific to the various Batmans that you've come across so far that you feel like, I don't know, you would highlight their flaws as a character?
The fact that he just happens to be good at everything. That's not good character writing. A character needs weaknesses. A character needs like something that holds them back. Batman somehow always ends up winning. He somehow always has a backup plan to a backup plan to a backup plan. He always has like some way of winning. Friggin' like overpowering Superman. Oh, I've also seen Batman be Superman and Man of Steel and Justice League, and I've seen that as well. Like so, he somehow always has like some way of like winning over all heroes. Like in many cartoons or like movies, it's been established that he has a way of defeating everyone in the Justice League in case they ever turn bad, right? His weakness is not trusting his teammates. How does he always have a way of defeating everyone? And why does everyone else not have a way of defeating Batman? Batman is not the only smart guy in the room when the Justice League is there. He's not even the most experienced. Heck, Wonder Woman is like thousands of years old. She's an Amazonian warrior. She should be the leader more than Batman.
It's the recent one that came out in 2023. It's something about like the Doom visits Gotham City or something like that. I forgot what the title was. I'll just put it over here. Okay. But basically, so in this version of Batman, he comes across a lot of supernatural stuff. He's almost like dying. Or, yeah, he like almost died a few times. And then, lucky for him, he had like the side chick to come through. Sidekick to come through. And then there's so many girls he comes across. So for me, it's like side chick, you know what I'm saying? But let's be honest, like a lot of chicks fall for him.
It's because he's a trust fund baby. They're going for the money, of course.
I don't know. Maybe they just have daddy issues. I think that's how
also
it starts off. Yeah, they're like young, and some of the girls he's got with are like minors.
Yeah. So add pedophilia to the
It's
list of
weird.
issues with Batman. Never thought I'd be saying that, but there we go.
Multiple times, and he's like, "Oh, the Dracula is too strong for me." Blah blah blah. Figures out a way eventually by reading like a bunch of mythical books about the Dracula. Uses science. So I think his brains have like gotten him at some point, right? Like the reason why he isn't dead in any of these movies is because like he has people to back him up and science to back him up.
Firstly,
Yeah.
a lot of what we just discussed kind of makes sense why he has like Dick Grayson and Robin and whatever as his Robins. They're kids. That's a little.
Yeah.
It's a little concerning. Secondly, I just thought it would be funny. Batman is fighting Dracula, also a Batman.
Yeah, they made a joke about that actually in the movie.
To defeat Dracula, don't you just need a cross? Like just go to a church and like get some holy.
Apparently not.
Oh.
The you know, in these kind of movies though, they never really consider the power of Christ. So moving on. How would you respond to the fans who argue that Batman's intelligence and detective skills and whatever makes him a great superhero?
I think it's unrealistic. Like I said in my voice notes, all the rants that I sent to you all those weeks ago. If he's so smart, then he's not human, and if he's a human, he's not so smart.
But they show how he is like extremely human in the way he takes on damage, for example. Almost dies multiple times, right?
Fair.
But then trains over months and months to get to the point where he's like, okay, now I see through it on a holistic view. I know what I'm supposed to do next, what he needs to research and find, right? And then he uses whatever findings he has to make the weapons he needs to fight off the bad guys.
As I said earlier, when I said Batman has no weaknesses, yeah, sure, his only weakness is that he's a human. He has human limitations, but many of the comics and movies, and they kind of like brush over that. He just happens to be good at everything. He just happens to like surpass human limitations as well. Like he'd be the best MMA fighter, but how do you still get to that point by being that good at everything? Like it's not possible. If he's like I said, if he's a human, he needs to have limitations. If he was an alien, or if he was affected by something that enhances his DNA or whatever, case in point, Captain America, Spider-Man, if he was something like Superman or like Green Lantern or whatever, and he had like something to empower his human self, understandable that there are something that he goes beyond human limitations. But he doesn't have that. All he has is money and super suits, but he is still somehow good at everything. What? Like, there's no explanation for it. There's no like logical explanation for it that I stand by, and no one has ever managed to give me that.
I think because he had enough time to like train for all of that. That when I did A-levels in media, for example, that 2 years of like briefly doing, I wasn't even doing it like in an intense way of like learning or something like that, but because I was very practical in the learning, right? So in that 3-second scene, for example, in a 3-second scene, I could see what the drama was. As an art student, I could see what kind of makeup or whatever they're doing to like enhance their features, right? And of course, as a as a person who's really into videography and whatever it is, I could see how they're breaking it down and like what they would have planned to get that shot and how they would have color graded to make it look the way it did, right? So if I can see it as a whole point of view of those 3 seconds, okay, because I had just a minimal amount of training in each field, for Batman, who got that intense training where he had to focus entirely on that, nothing else except for eating and sleeping, do you not think that that would have helped him become the genius that he is and like help defeat villains?
Again, human limitations. You are bringing up studying a course that helps you understand how to make a film, right? I've been there. I'm also a filmmaker. I know what it's like. If we were to add how to understand a 3-second shot, if you were to do that along with learning how to make a 5-star Michelin meal, that's not a thing, a 3-star Michelin meal, alongside learning how to build a car from scratch, alongside learning how to fly a plane and get your pilot's degree and learning how to do this and that, like, you'd struggle in more than one field.
But he had years though. He had years since he was a kid.
Yeah.
Right?
Even then, dude, you can't be a master of everything. You can be a master of a few things, but not every single thing. He's good at everything. He has the Batmobile and he has his bat plane or whatever it's called. So he obviously has an engineering degree.
The Bat.
Yeah, the Bat. Fine, I'll give him that. He has all these vehicles, and he also knows how to use all these weapons, and he also has a huge arsenal of his own like things that he puts in his utility belt, and he also knows all the martial arts, and he like, again, you can't be good at every single thing.
But how do we know that he's good at every single thing? All we've seen is about him fighting crime and being a good detective. And like, of course, like,
good detective. How many helpers does he have? He has his Robins and he has Alfred.
yeah.
Alfred does not have an engineering degree. He's a butler. Robin's a kid. All the Robins are like way less experienced than him, unless they outlive him.
Mm-hmm.
So who else does he have to rely on?
I'm sure
in the
YouTube
Dark Knight,
videos.
didn't they establish Morgan Freeman's character also helping him out? But even that, like, that still leaves a whole other like list of things that he's still like somehow amazingly amazing at. Speaking of what fans might say, I'm so sorry I'm interrupting you, but I have to say, more than Batman, I hate Batman fans. Because every single time I have any of these discussions with them, like, you are giving the most rational responses to me, right? But any single time I think of, I have any discussion with any Batman fan, I ask them, why is he so good at this, or how does he do this, or whatever. All they have to say is, because he's Batman. Screw you, give me an actual response, dude. Yeah, I know he's Batman. I can say that about any character, because he's Spider-Man, because he's Captain America, because he's Darkseid, because he... No, give me a reason as to how or why he does something. Like how is he here in 1 second and then poof, smoke, and how is he disappeared? He's not an actual ninja. How does he do it? Give me a reason as to how he outwits his enemies, how he escapes, how he fights, how he does... Don't just say because he's Batman. Screw you. I'm mad. I feel like a child throwing a tantrum.
One last question. Okay, do you think Gotham would be better off without Batman?
2000% yes.
Why?
Superman exists.
Wouldn't that be down to contingency planning, because he, as like an entrepreneur, we all have that brain of like, we need to have backups to make sure that we're still successful at the end. So even with the job that I have, we have like backup to whatever objection that a person is like giving us.
I will come back to my initial point of, if he just kills his enemies, he wouldn't need backups to backups. The fact that many heroes don't take that step of just eliminating their enemies, this goes out for like even Marvel heroes. I'm not just like discriminating against only Batman. Many other heroes also have this thing. If they just, eliminate their enemies, then you wouldn't need backups to backups. You just do your job properly, get rid of the enemies, boom, done. You don't need more backup plans.
Okay. Well, that was my last question, and I want to go back to your comment about Batman fans.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Batman fans,
it's
if you are watching, come at me.
There you have it, Batman fans. You found yourself a Batman hater, and I've asked a bunch of questions on your behalf. I have tried to represent you the best I can, and I know how. But if you have anything that you want to say or ask him, please write down in the comments below. Share with your Batman fan friends or whatever, and let him know your thoughts.